Welcome to Soltron. This is my video review for my custom metal Cardbot S Bluecop and Fire Phoenix. Let's start with Bluecop S. I didn't really mod very much on this guy. I did hollow out the inside of his head so his eyes completely light up now. So he does have really good light piping, and you can see his eyes look more lifelike. You can contrast that with my review that I did with this guy, but yeah, I had to completely take his head apart and just drill everything out in there, and now just glue everything back together. So I think that gives a much nicer shine to his eyes. Even this, when you can see my hand is over it, you can still see good light piping happening in the back there. This is probably what his head looked like normally with no light piping. So you can see there's quite a difference. So I enjoy that a lot. I guess it doesn't really make a difference from this angle, but yeah, had to do a lot of work for that. And then the other thing I really customized on this guy, I didn't give him I didn't give him bicep swivels or elbows. That might come in a next update. But I did adjust his punching weapon, so you can see his fist is like a reasonable size. When he opens his hand, it looks pretty normal, and then he can still make his fist. So this is like a similar size to what it normally looks like, and then he can even make a smaller fist. And then he has his thumb posed over here, so it could be like if you were actually punching and you wrap your fingers around, or your thumb around these fingers, so you can get a pretty convincing looking punch. And then his thumb here is now on a ball joint, and he can kind of do like a thumbs up. It's not the prettiest thing. I should have painted these black, but I didn't get around to it. So you can also get him giving a nice thumbs up if you need some encouragement. So that looks pretty cool. And then, yeah, when his hand's all the way open, it looks like he could slap or grab something. So I think that looks a lot more natural. That's a good looking fist, as opposed to when he had the other joint on. All I did was I just popped out this pin and then just took off this segment. Oh, and the other thing I did was I shaved down this plastic here so he can straighten out his hand like this, because otherwise he was stuck like at a 45-degree angle like this, which didn't look very natural. So that looks a lot nicer where he can just relax his hand. And I like this because now it looks like it matches his little hand over here. They both look proportional and similar to each other. Alright, and just for contrast, this is what his hand looks like normally. This is how long his joints are, and then his hand would do this. So you can still straighten that out, and that looks really absurd. It's definitely got too many joints. But the nice thing about his old hand was that it filled out this space nicely, so that still looks pretty good. But very reversible. All it requires is just taking out a pin and then taking out the middle segment and then just putting that there instead. So pretty easy work to do. I'm going to leave it with the shortened fingers, even though I think the fist looks better with all the segments. I think this just looks better for every other pose. So yeah, not a big custom there at all. And this is how it looks folded up into the block mode. So of course it can still do that. It's just a short segment, missing a segment right there. Okay, let's go on to the more interesting, not necessarily better custom. So this is Fire Phoenix. So I did a lot of work on this guy. First off, I gave him this post for his axe weapon so he can actually hold it like an axe, which I think looks pretty good. It looks like a really great weapon. And then he's got his normal cannon weapon here, nothing special happening there. So we'll go ahead and get those off to the side. This was supposed to stay inside the bottom of the axe. That's all you had to do, was just drill this, put this post here, done. So pretty simple custom as far as that goes. And then you can see how he looks himself. So I definitely wanted to embrace that samurai kind of aesthetic, and these shoulders that he had from before just looked yeah, really like samurai shoulders to me, so I wanted to take advantage of that. And of course I gave him these ball joints, which is just a crazy amount of ball joints, so that he could still have fully articulated arms. He can get off whatever pose he needs to, and then these panels can open up so they don't block his arms. So it's not the prettiest thing. Admittedly, it could probably use a panel that covers these up, makes them look more like shoulders. But I accomplished what I was going for. I think he looks a lot more like a samurai now. And here he is with the configuration of his regular shoulders. So of course he looked more intact in his normal mode, but I think these new shoulders suit him pretty well, and it helps with it. He gets a lot of extra arm articulation, which I like. And then finally, let's see if we can transform him without a bunch of stuff falling off. And then I did have to change his transformation, so these hands just stick way out the back. I don't remember exactly how this works. Maybe something like this. So these just stick. Geez, I hope it wasn't like this. That would be ridiculous. I think that actually might be what I settled on. So yeah, his alt mode is going to suffer a lot for this. So his arms are just sticking out the back. And then just close these up, and then this will just fold up over his body, I think. And then you do have to unpeg him. And you can see there's already like the rear of the vehicle. And then we just fold up his toes as usual. Peg these sections together. And then in theory, all of this is just going to slide together. So like that, basically. And then I'll just fix this up once I figure out how this was all supposed to... Oh, there it goes. So kind of all just neatly pegs together. And he's got these giant, ugly sections sticking out the back. So I kind of try to attempt to hide that this way. And then I made it so everything still pegs together. He's got this massive junk down here, so I definitely didn't do this right. Okay, there we go. I just didn't have it quite oriented right. So he looks pretty standard from the front. It doesn't look like much has changed. But then he's got these giant arms sticking out the back. So it's kind of weird because his transformation is drastically different. He doesn't have to rotate at the midsection anymore. But yeah, everything still fits on top. Still have that going. So, is that how it goes? I don't know. It does rotate this way. So, yeah, pretty big custom on this guy. Not sure how I feel about it. I think I like him better than he was, because I think the new samurai shoulders are pretty cool. Plus they give him a lot more articulation, but I think they are kind of ugly to look at, so it's kind of a wash. But of course, I can't help myself. If I see something that can be fixed, I'll do it. Anyway, remember to check my description for the other robots I have for sale, and I'll see you in the next one.